and welcome to another episode of Scope. I'm Tracy Pa. The Green Finance Center under the Central Bank of Papua New Guinea recently hosted its inaugural Green Finance Summit to unlock green finance opportunities, foster green investment, and support inclusive growth across key national priorities such as agriculture, sustainable land use and marine resources, renewable energy, women-led enterprises, and small and medium-sized businesses. The three-day summit brought together senior government officials along with leaders from the financial sector, development partners, and private sector stakeholders in the country, the Pacific region, and international donor partners.
The inaugural Green Finance Summit of 2025, with its key objective of accelerating climate finance in Papua New Guinea and the Pacific, took place in Port Moresby from March 24th to 26th. The three-day summit, a landmark event, facilitated dialogue on key topics on Papua New Guinea's green initiatives, sustainable development opportunities, and government-led policy coordination in advancing climate finance. The common theme echoed throughout the conference surrounded green growth and climate financing.
Green growth refers to economic development strategies that emphasize environmentally sustainable practices while promoting economic growth. It focuses on achieving a balance between improving economic outcomes and protecting the environment, ensuring that natural resources are used efficiently and responsibly. The core idea behind green growth is to create long-term economic value through practices that reduce environmental impact, such as transitioning to clean energy sources such as solar to improve energy efficiency in industries, homes, and transportation, using natural resources like water, soil, and forest more efficiently while promoting sustainable farming practices, investing in green technologies such as electronic vehicles, carbon capture, and sustainable construction methods that reduce pollution and reliance on non-renewable resources, and promoting a circular economy where waste is minimized and materials are reused or recycled. The goal is to foster growth that not only addresses the economic needs of today, but also ensures a healthier, more sustainable environment for future generations. Green growth is often seen as a way to meet the challenges of climate change, resource depletion, and environmental degradation.
On day 2 of the summit, Papua New Guinea's international partners shared insights on sustainable development. The discussion highlighted opportunities for collaboration in advancing inclusive green growth and climate-resilient development in the country.
All relevant stakeholders within the government, the civil society, the private sector, I can just anticipate that we truly will focus on making the economy of PNG, the society and the institution that drive them stronger in the face of shocks, as well as able to exploit green growth opportunity. And in fact, the pillars on which we plan to focus and we hope to gain the agreement of the government is increasing private sector investment to create more and better jobs. Someone alluded to that right in the previous panel. Connecting remote communities to basic infrastructure and improving human capital outcomes. And finally, strengthening macroeconomic management and governance.
I think at the national policy level, I mentioned fiscal frameworks. I mentioned the need to have a good sense of the investment needs. And then at the global level, I think it's very important, and yesterday we heard the Prime Minister, is also for countries in the Pacific, in Asia Pacific, to continue to push for openness in trade, technology transfer, and keeping an open trading system, which also helps the adaptation and implementation
We are now in discussions with BPNG, Green Finance Centers, UNCDF, and AFD to see how we can support the BPNG's initiative on refinancing and guarantee facility that can facilitate green financing in the country.
You know, our work on with SEPA about natural capital accounting, it showed the huge potential, but to realize the potential, we actually need to develop natural capital accounting on the ground and actually demonstrate concretely in ways which will gain the trust of financial institutions, the value of nature-based assets, and therefore our new project in Bougainville and New Ireland is not only going to be supporting communities with in locally managed marine areas, it's not only going to be stimulating new blue economies and using CDF's guarantee to be able to enable them to get access to finance, but at the same time, we will be piloting natural capital accounting in Bougainville and New Ireland and demonstrating and bringing that data onto the ground that actually will be the platform for finance to flow in later.
This dialogue not only emphasized the continued commitment of these partners to collaborate with PNG to integrate green growth strategies into key policy frameworks, it also underscored the real challenges PNG faces in this newly introduced area of development.
In partnership with the Government of PNG and the CCDA in particular, we launched Climate First, which stands for Finance Initiative for Resilience and Sustainable Development, and we launched that in March 2024. This aims to support PNG's ambition to access more climate finance through finding and developing green growth opportunities in line with PNG's NDC and NAP. It means developing green growth proposals that target the 4 key development sectors: agriculture, health, transport and infrastructure. And to support the good work occurring at this summit to strengthen policies and the availability of green finance in PNG, we're focusing on finding and developing projects that are eligible for climate financing, because we know that just having the project is not enough. It can take time and concerted efforts to access climate finance to deliver green growth projects.
Our focus is on building resilience to the impacts of climate change through supporting our Pacific neighbours' priorities in a practical way and with a long-term view. Here in Papua New Guinea, that takes a few different forms that all work together. So I think for most people, when they start looking at green growth and climate change, they start with energy. And that's why for New Zealand, one of our major projects here at the moment in Papua New Guinea is a 30 million kina contribution to a solar power plant in Bougainville alongside our Australian friends, which we'll be working on over the next few years. Ultimately, that will work to reduce reliance on diesel generation by up to 90% and significantly improve the reliability and the resilience of the Buka Island electrical grid.
When it comes to climate financing, the discussion delved into the resources allocated to support actions aimed at mitigating climate change and adapting to its impacts. It involves funding from both public and private sources to support climate-related projects and initiatives. Climate finance is crucial for helping countries, especially developing nations like PNG, transition to low-carbon, climate-resilient economies and to cope with the challenges posed by climate change. The discussions outlined that PNG's inclusive green finance policy and the implementation roadmap launched in 2023 is the government taking steps to promote green growth and sustainable development.
When we come back, we continue exploring the Green Finance Summit and how the private sector plays a crucial role in driving green growth. The private sector has a crucial role to play in driving green growth. With increasing global and domestic focus on sustainability and reducing environmental impact, businesses are looking for innovative ways to integrate green practices into their operations. On the second day of the inaugural Green Finance Summit, the private sector, highlighted how they integrate green practices into their operations.
Many businesses are turning to carbon offset programs and carbon footprint management solutions. One such company is Steamships Trading Limited. Addressing its significant carbon footprint, Steamships says it is promoting sustainable development efforts and has acquired a certification in excellence in design for greater efficiencies.
And so when we looked at our property space, we said there's a lot of quick wins that we could do. And so we partnered up with IFC and we selected EDGE certification. Basically, it's excellence in design for greater efficiencies. And a couple examples here. At 345, a lot of you would know that it used to be the old Burns house down in Port Moresby. We had to do a lot of retrofitting and working with ICCC and collaborating on what the design would look like. Instantly, we saw that with the retrofitting and designs of our building, we were able to, one, energy use, have a significant reduction of 39%. Water use, 35% reduction. Embodied energy in materials, 69% reduction. When you think about that, this EDGE retrofitting equates to about 60.4 tons of carbon emissions saved per year. So we're talking about lower hanging fruits, things that actually can be done by businesses if you really think about what is the quick win that you can get out of this.
Rupa emphasized Steamship's commitment to sustainability, aligning with the country's development aspirations.
What we've committed to do long term is all of our hotels retrofitting, all our current and existing apartments will go through the EDGE certification process, and any future builds will go through that process as well.
Agriculture with minimal environmental impact is a huge area for growth. Togoba Coffee and Wagimek Coffee shared their experiences in growth and the current challenges they face. Togoba Coffee owner and founder shared insights into the growth of the business.
We are going downstream. We are building a big warehouse at Napa Napa now. Kena Bank has come on board and given us the funding for the warehouse. 60 by 30 meters big warehouse. We're doing our packets, our roasted beans. We're doing it overseas. I mean, not the roasted beans, but the sachets. The 3-in-1, we are the first local company to do the 3-in-1 sachets. We export our green beans over to Malaysia, do our sachets, and then we bring it back and sell it here.
And also shared the challenges that they have to overcome.
We have 2 wet factories. We process 1 wet factory in Jiwaka, 1 wet factory in Nebilia, and 1 dry mill that we do our green beans and we export. We are a local company. We don't have the capacity to do it, but we are starting on a little note that we are exporting our green beans from Papua New Guinea. We're sending it out.
Meanwhile, Wagimek Coffee, as old as the country, established in 1976, is in need of revitalization. Andrew Hagen from Wagimek Coffee says they intend to partner with the provincial government and seek out investors with additional plans to diversify into horticulture.
Looking at diversification into horticulture. So this is mostly food crops. Everyone in PNG is a farmer. We are all farmers. We all know how to work the land and grow food crops, and this is basically for us to create a market for the local farmers and the local communities for them to sell their produce and for us to support them, provide inputs, provide seedlings, all these sorts of things, have agricultural officers that can go out and teach them about financing and budgets and all these sorts of things. And we have, with the 14 plantations, we've had trees that have been on there for 70 years. So there is a lot of timber that is available that we would like to mill ourselves and use for infrastructure development, and whether that be schools or health aid posts or anything within our province, or we can sell this timber as well.
Meanwhile, on the panel with Rupa, Koldop and Hagen was UNCDF's country lead and technical specialist for PNG, who led discussions on parametric insurance, a type of climate and disaster risk finance and insurance solution that is inspired by the need for a rapid financial response to reduce humanitarian and economic losses after a disaster is being piloted by the United Nations Capital Development Fund.
We're actually looking at scaling up some of the efforts. Last year, 2024-2025, so far 10,000 households have actually been insured, and 2025-2026, we're looking at 25,000. It's still a very small number compared to the population of this country. So how do we scale up some of these efforts? It is the reason we're actually talking today. So how do we support the people outside there in the provinces to cope with these kind of challenges around landslides, drought, earthquakes, sometimes even eruptions from the mountains? We need to find a way of supporting them. And this is exactly what UNCDF is doing in this country.
The inaugural Green Finance Summit is described to have displayed a tremendous spirit of collaboration, ambition, and urgency. Governor for Central Bank of Papua New Guinea, Elizabeth Genia, in her closing remarks said the summit was not only a platform for dialogue, but indeed a catalyst for action.
I'm pleased to share some of the key commitments and next steps that will define the next chapter in our sustainable finance journey. AFD has committed to support the development of a green finance refinancing facility and a green guarantee facility. ADB has pledged up to $20 million in support of these two facilities, working alongside AFD, UNCDF, and the Green Finance Center. The IMF reaffirmed its support through the Resilience and Sustainable Facility, with an emphasis on the need for inclusive green finance and the important role of Green Finance Center. The Department of Treasury has committed to working with Bank of Papua New Guinea and the Green Finance Center to co-develop sustainable financial solutions tailored to our national development priorities. CCDA has committed to jointly operationalize the green taxonomy, a key foundational tool in aligning investments to sustainable outcomes.
The transition to a more sustainable green economy opens up exciting opportunities for businesses, whether through innovation, adaptation of new technologies, or being leaders in the shift towards sustainability. It's a win-win situation, as these efforts not only protect the planet, but can drive long-term profitability with competitiveness.
Prudent school management is important if an institution is to progress. Member for Lay and Deputy Prime Minister John Russell outlined this when opening a new 18-1 classroom for Bugande Secondary School in February this year.
Member for Lay and Deputy Prime Minister John Russell has always emphasized on prudent management and what can be achieved if leaders are transparent and accountable in their dealings. Education institutions are no different, with Russell outlining that the appointment of a good principal was the first step in restoring one of Lay's oldest schools, the Bugande Secondary School. Bugande, from being a top school, dropped in academic performance, had badly deteriorated classrooms, which were built in the 60s, no stationery, no electricity, and no water supply due to unpaid bills. Students were in half uniforms and were always involved in school fights. Things started turning around in 2022 when Russell visited the school and decided to change Bugande's administration.
And the next step was to look for a good principal, because the essence of everything you do, everyone gives credit to someone like me, But someone like me gets the ideas, but you need people behind the scenes to make it run and happen. It's a whole cycle of management. So I went and I visited Christopher Raymond in LASEC. I'm an ex-LASEC student. I went to LASEC a long time ago. And I sat down with Christopher Raymond, and then I sat down with Dennis Miles, your current principal. And I said, we really need a good manager at Bugandi, not just a principal, a manager to motivate people, to make sure everything runs well. I'll put money into it, but who's going to run it for me? So Dennis, I can reflect, he said, shh, Milesia, skuli aga plenty problem Nah, but I mean, apart from being a principal, I enjoy a good relationship with a lot of our public servants. Come on, buddy. You go down, me ba support him, me promise, me ba support him you. So between myself and Christopher Raymond, we managed to convince him. And he said, okay, I'll give it a shot. So they transferred Dennis to here, to Bugandi as a principal. And I kept my promise.
Rosso drew attention to the challenging situation that academic and non-academic staff at Bugandi had to work in, from limited resources to ailing infrastructure and poor management.
And I looked at the teachers and I felt really sorry for the teachers. They were struggling to teach students with very little support. And basically the school was in a bad shape. Financial mismanagement was not running properly. So having Dennis appointed was one first step. Then having a school board made up of good citizens to help the principal and the staff run it. And then having a good staff with their morale being boosted to help teach the children. And most importantly, making certain that the students were proud of coming to this school. So between the staff, and I give total credit to Dennis and his staff and the Board of Management. I give total credit to them. They decided to make certain the students have the uniforms. They decided to impose discipline. They decided to have that respect earned. And between the staff, commendations to the staff. Seriously, in conditions like this, I would not have wanted to be a teacher here. You would have seen the journey this school started from 2022 when Bugandi had a really bad name. And one place, Bagarab school. Students were undisciplined. There was no uniforms. They were sitting in shitty classrooms. There were no photocopy papers. There's just nothing. But you students who saw it in 2022 and did the change with your teachers now sit before me. And credit, Igolo Yupla, credit really goes to you guys because now I see before me a school of 2,000 children that are well-dressed, well-presented, and most of all, those changes have contributed to really good tertiary school acceptance and intake. When I first came in 2022, the student acceptance into tertiary institutions and colleges, one plus rubbish number 3. I think only one went to university out of a whole class of grade 12. I mean, a whole group of grade 12 of 400 grade 12s or something.
Bugandi's Deputy Principal Academic, Monica Samuel Miapu, concurred that drastic changes have taken place since the new administration was installed 4 years ago. The staff noted a shift in the students' mindsets when the Lay City Authority started building them new infrastructure, paid off all outstanding bills, and worked hand in hand with the Bugandi staff to clean up the mess left by the past administration.
Changing how Bugandi, with the students' attitude, the discipline. Yes, we do have discipline issues, and it has been managed. And students' performance, both in the school and outside, positive critics, positive opinions and views have come from the general public as well. indications of students performing well and advancing to tertiary institutions. All sectors of the tertiary institution, that means technical schools, universities, colleges. Bugendi is among students progressing. Apart from that, all other aspects of being involved in community activities, students are involved in, and that has encouraged from 2022 in terms of enrollment. Parents would want their students to come to, or their sons and daughters to come to Bugendi Secondary School.
In 2022, over 60 students went on to continue their education in tertiary institutions. That number increased to 84 in 2023 and on to over 100 in 2024. There are more changes in store for not just Bugendi, but other schools in Lae with transparent leadership and good management. The Lae City Authority funded Bugendi's grade 12 18-1 classroom last year, and this year they opened another new 18-1 classroom for the grade 11 students. Lae MP John Rosso says every grade will have a new classroom building with plans to build ablution facilities and a basketball court for Bugendi as well.
On behalf of the Scope production team, I'm Tracy Pa saying thank you for your company and see you next Sunday.